Namaskar. Welcome to the second session of the 16th Adhyaya. This will be the final session in which Bhagavan shows us the Asuri Sampatti. Let us start with the gratitude towards the Lord, with whose grace everything is possible. We pray to this Guru Shishya Parampara through which this knowledge is transmitted from generations to reach us. I pay my respects to my Guruji, Pujya Guruma, with whose grace I am able to learn the scriptures and share this understanding with you. Let us start with a prayer. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So the 16th Adhyaya is the Devi Asuri Sampatti Vibhaga Yoga, where we all of us have the divine qualities in us, whereas we also have some of the Asuri Sampatti, the demonical values or qualities inside us. And the life is a combination of both these Sampattis. Devi Sampattis, as we saw in the first session of the 16th Adhyaya, they can be said as life values, moral values, or the good values that we all must try to imbibe in our life. It is for all the persons, not just for the sadhaka who is on the spiritual journey, but it's for everyone, for the entire humanity. And this needs to be thought about. We need to think about it, how we can imbibe it in our life. And we should constantly try to cultivate these kind of moral values, to acquire them, to imbibe them in our life, assimilate them in our personality. And Bhagavan in the 14th Adhyaya, when he talked about Sadguna Prapti, Sadguna Sampatti, Sadguna Prapti, how we have to go from our Rajasa, the Tamasa Guna to the Sattvic Guna. That is, because gunas determine our karma, karma determines all the karma phala and our next janama and everything. But how we can get Sadguna in our life is by acquiring this Devi Sampatti. So there is a connection between the two. How to imbibe the Sadguna is by imbibing Devi Sampatti. In today's session, we are going to talk about the Asuri Sampatti, the devilish qualities, which are basically arises from the Raja and the Tamasa Guna. And we need to constantly try and discard these qualities from our life. And this is because the peace of mind is our utmost priority. It should be the top project of our life. Because only with this purity, this Antakarana Shuddhi, which is the prerequisite, makes us eligible for the spiritual path or the journey. Because this is the first step of the sadhana, where this purity makes us eligible. Adhikaritva is a Shastriya word for eligibility for this Atma Jnana, which is the second very important part of the journey, where we have to listen to the Shastra from Guru Mukha, and we have to understand this Atma Jnana and assimilate this Atma Jnana. So attaining this Devi Sampatti and discarding the Asuri Sampatti is the main part of the earlier part of the sadhana, which is the life-saving part of the sadhana, and this is what Bhagavan is talking in this 16th Adhyaya. The first shloka starts with Bhagavan when he describes the Devi Sampatti. Abhayam Sattva Sanshuddhi Gnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi Dhanam Damascha Yagnascha Swadhyayastapa Arjavam Ahimsa Satyam Akrodha Tyaga Shantirapaishunam Daya Bhuteshwalo Luptvam Mardavam Hira Chapalam Teja Kshamadruti Shaucham Adroho Nati Manita Bhavanti Sampadam Daivim Abhichatasya Bharata Dambho Darpo Bhimanascha Krodha Parushymevacha Ajnanam Cha Vichatasya Partha Sampadamasurim. So in this fourth shloka, Bhagavan introduces the Asuri Sampatti. He says, Damba, Darpa, Abhimana, Krodha, Parushya, Ajnana, all these are demonical values, are all Asuri Sampatti, and who are born with these people are the Asura type of personalities. In the fifth shloka, Bhagavan says that we should try to Daivi Sampatti Vimokshaya. We should try to attain Daivi Sampatti because it is the the way to moksha. It is the road to moksha, to liberation. And that's why Daivi Sampatti, somebody who wants moksha must imbibe, try to cultivate this Daivi Sampatti. Nibandhaya Asuri Mata. Bhagavan says, in my opinion, this Asuri Sampatti causes bondage. They bind us to this world, to this samsara, does not allow us to be free from the samsara, to be to moksha. And then he consoles Arjuna, says, Ma Shuchaha, Arjun, don't worry. Pandava, don't worry. You are born with these divine qualities, the Devi Sampatti, and that's why you are also eligible for moksha. And Guruji tells us that, whoever listens to Gitaji, they are all having some Devi Sampatti within them, because of which they have this inclination, desire to understand what Bhagavan Shri Krishna is trying to tell us. And we are all eligible for moksha, adhikari for moksha. So let us start from the 6th shloka, when Bhagavan now he takes he takes a pledge to tell in details Asuri Sampatti to Arjuna. Dvau bhuta sargo lokesmin daiva asura evacha daivo vistarasha prokta asuram partha me shrunu. Bhagavan says, in this world there are two types, dvau. There are two types of people who are born lokaha asmin, in this bhuta sargo. In this world, there are two types of people who are born. It says, Daivaha Asura Evacha. There are some who have Daivi qualities predominant, some who have Asuri qualities predominant. But essentially, one person has both the qualities, Daivi as well as Asuri qualities. And Bhagavan says there are predominance is dependent on the disposition, on the personality of the individual. Daivaha Vistarasha Proktaha. I have already told you in details about the Daivi Sampatti, about the divine qualities. Asuram Parthame Shrunu. But now you hear in details about the devilish qualities, Asuri Sampatti. Bhagavan takes a pledge that I'm going to tell you in details about this Asuri Sampatti. And from the 7th shloka, he starts describing this Asuri Sampatti. It describes the life of a person who has this kind of Asuri Sampatti. Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha janana vidurasuraha na shaucham na pichacharo na satyam teshu vidyate. Asuraha janaha na viduhu. Those people who have demonical values, they do not know. Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha. He says pravrittim means what is worth doing, and nivrittim means what is not worth doing, where we should come back, where we should not do our actions. So karma kya hai, kartavya, what is our duty, what should be done, what should not be done. They don't have this clarity, and that's why they do something that they like, they keep on doing what they like. Na shaucham, what is purity? They have no idea of what is outer purity in terms of purity of the place where they are sitting, where they are living, purity of the food that they are eating, purity of the wealth that they earn, they accumulate. And they don't know about inner purity also. Inner purity is purity of the mind, the antakarana, the mana shuddhi. They don't have any shuddhi in their vyavhara, achara, their actions. And this kind of shaucha is not there in their life. Na apicha acharaha. Neither they don't know what is good behavior, sadachar. They don't know what is good behavior because they don't think too much. They don't know what is to be worth doing, what is not to be worth doing, and that's why they don't behave well. Teshu satyam na vidyate. They don't know what is honesty. They are not honest. They are dishonest people. They speak lies. They also act something different. They speak something different. They act something different. And that's why asatya is what is the foundation of their life. And that's why how they look at the world is also very different, because their life is such, their thinking about the world is also very different. That Bhagavan tells us in the 8th shloka, Asatyam pratishtam te jagadahuranishwaram aparaspara sambhutam kimanyatyam mahetukam. Bhagavan says Jagat Ahuhu Asatyam. That's why they always feel that this world, entire world is filled with dishonest people. Because they are dishonest, they speak lies, they always feel that the other person is also speaking lies. Asatyam does not mean here that they believe that the world is an illusion or a mithya. That is the belief of a wise, enlightened person. Here, Asatyam word means dishonest. Everybody is dishonest, that is what they believe. Apratishtamte. They believe that this world, Jagat, is without any support, adhara. There is no adhara, there is no foundation of this jagata. It is without any adhara, it is niradhara. And people, they believe that, all these planets, everything, the universal cycle goes around, but it is all without any foundation. The person who has Asuri Sampati does not believe in the Lord, does not believe in the universal order, does not believe in the God as the Lordship. And Anishwaram, that's why they believe that there is nothing like God, there is nothing like Lord, everything just Jagata goes on by itself. There is nobody who is the Niyanta. Niyanta means one who takes care, one who is the overlord of these universe. Whereas a person who has the Devi Sampatti understands that there is a universal law, universal order through which everything happens, all the weather changes, the planets, the movement, the solar system, the sun, the moon, everything happens by design. And that's why there is somebody who has created this design. That is the Lord, the God is the overlord of this universe. But the Asuri Sampati person believes that aparaspara sambhutam kimanyat kamahaitukam, that this world is created by only the sayoga, the communion of the male and the female. That's how these people are born, and that's how they die, and that's how everything is created. And the world also probably came out of some big bang, and that's how the world is created. That is what is the belief of such people. They do not understand that there is a foundation, an adhara, a force behind this universe. And that's why this is the thinking of such people. And what is their vision? Because of this kind of thinking, what is their worldview? What is they think about the life? Bhagavan says, Etam drashtim avashtabhya nashtatmanolpa buddhayaha prabhavantyugra karmanaha shayaya jagato hitaha. So etam drashtim avashtabhya, by having this kind of vision, alpa buddha, these are the people who have very limited thinking ability, they have a limited intellect, they have a very meager thinking, they only have short-sighted thinking, they don't think of the long-term view, they're only self-centered, they just think about their own self. And that's why what happens to them? Nashta atmanaha. They are unable to achieve any higher goal in their life. They just, because of their short-term thinking, they are just self-centered, and that's why they don't think about the higher goal of what life is meant for. Prabhavanti ugra karmana. And for this, that self-centered thinking, they are involved in violence because they want everything because of their likes, and according to their likes, they want everything. And that's why they somehow resort to this kind of ugra, harsh, violent actions. Jagata ahita kshayaya. And they are damaging to the for this world. They don't take care of this world. They don't maintain this universal law order of this world. That's why we are seeing all the problems that happen today in our world: terrorism, climate change, violence, rapes, and all these things are because of these kind of people who have this Asuri Sampatti. Because of this kind of a vision, they become violent. They cause damage to this world, Jagata Ahita and Kshayaya, and they cause decay of this universe. Kamamashritya dushpuram dambhamanamadhanvitaha mohat gruhitvat sadgrahan pravartante shuchivrataha. Kamam ashritya dushpuram. They are involved in endless desires. Kama means desire. Dushpuram means endless, which does not have a bottomless or which does not end. Ashritya, they take shelter of these kind of endless desires. And these endless desires are filled with dambha, mana and mada, anvita. So they are filled with hypocrisy. Dambha means hypocrisy. They say something else, they want to show something else. Mana, which is a mithya mana. They always want self-respect, that everybody should appreciate them, should praise them. And mada. Mada means their ego, their pride, that I can do anything. And this kind of bhava are filled in them when they have these desires. Mohat asadgrahan gruhitva pravartante. Due to delusions, they are obsessed with a lot of misconceptions, illusions. They have a lot of myths, and they believe that whatever they believe is the correct thing. They don't want to listen to others. And ashuchi vrataha. Their decisions are not very firm, very clear, because they are, too many desires. They have a dambha, they have mana, they have too much of mada, ego, and that's why because of this there is a moha, and because of this moha they cannot. Their mind is clouded. They can't take adequate, proper yogya or proper appropriate decisions. And that's why these decisions are not firm, clean. They keep changing their decision. They will decide today something, they will change it. And that's why Bhagavan says they are ashuchi vrataha. And because of this, chintam paribeyam cha pralayantam upashritaha kamopabhoga parama etavaditi nishchitaha. So because of this kind of thinking, this kind of vision, what happens is chintam upashritaha aparimeyam cha. They are always affected by anxieties, tensions, and stress. And this is aparimeyam. Aparimeyam means which has no end. It is endless. It keeps going on and on. And till what time does it keep going on? Bhagavan says pralayantam. Pralayantam means till their body comes to an end. Pralaya. Pralaya kal means body comes to an end. Pralaya also means on a samashti level, universe comes to an end. But on an individual vyashti level, it is the body comes to an end till the death. So they keep having a lot of stress, anxiety, tension. What will happen if I will do this? What will happen? What will happen about the future? They have about the body, about the disease, about the near dear ones. They have a lot of unnecessary stress, anxiety, tensions. Kama upabhoga parama, and they are always attracted to sense pleasures. Kama is, the desires are always for upabhoga. Upabhoga means enjoying the pleasures, having the pleasures in the sense objects. That is what they are parama. That is what they are ever attracted to. Etavat iti nishchitaha, and they have a firm understanding that etavat, this is what needs to be done. This is all that life is all about. This is the ultimate goal of life, just to enjoy, have sense pleasures, and having stress, anxiety, tension, kama, upabhoga. This is what they are parama. For them, it is the highest goal in life, and this is the only sense pleasure. They can't think of anything beyond this. What is the higher purpose or the higher goal of life? And this is what is the situation of the Asuri Sampatti person. Asha pasha shatair baddhaha kama krodha parayanaha ihante kama bhogartham manyayenartha sanchayan. So Bhagavan says that all these people are bound. Asha pasha. Asha pasha means they are bound by this asha, this desires. Shataihi, thousands of desires. Baddhaha. Baddhaha means they are bound. They are bandhana. They are in this bandhana, bound by these thousands of different kinds of desires that come up in their mind. And they are always parayan. Parayan means they are devoted to kama and krodha. They are always devoted to lust. They are always, their vision is like that. And anger. They are always, because whatever they want, if they can't get it, they will become angry. Ihante kama bhogartham, and their actions are all because of sense pleasures. Kama bhoga artham, all these that they do, act accordingly, or their actions or their activities are only for kama bhoga. They would want to go here, that, there, get some, kama bhoga, but not for righteousness, not dharma, not dharmartham. It is kama bhoga artham. That is what Bhashyakar says. Anyayena artha sanchayan, and by at any means, they will use any means to go to their end. They will use all unethical, illegal, anyayana. Even if rightfully does not belong to them, they would want to have that piece of land or that piece of money or some wealth which rightfully does not belong to them. Artha sanchayan. Artha sanchayan means they want to have these objects, all these objects, sense objects, objects like wealth, money, land, pride, everything, all these sense objects they want. Even anyayana, even by unethical means, they would go out of the way and accumulate that. They would not like to pay adequate taxes. They would, on any means they would use to get whatever they want. And this is what is, Bhagavan says, people who have Asuri Sampatti. And what is their kind of mentality? What is their thinking process? How are they calculative? They are very calculative people. And what is the kind of thinking that they have? How do they keep calculating? One says, idam madhyamaya labdham imam prapsye manoratham idam astidam api me bhavishyati punardhanam. Idam adya maya labdham. Today I have achieved so much in terms of all the objects, wealth, pride, respect, or, position, and investments, all this. I've achieved so much. Imam prapsya se manoratham. And manoratham means the future. Always they think that I shall achieve more and more in the future. They always want to achieve more and more. This kind of thinking, they constantly manorath in the mind. They always have that in the 1 year, I must achieve this much. In 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, my investment should double. All these kind of manoratha goes on in their mind. Idamasti idamapi. Today I have so much of wealth. Today my balance sheet is like this. Companies, organizations also work on this kind of a mentality. And tomorrow, or maybe 1 year down the line, my valuation in the stock market should become like this. So this is what are the goals of such kind of mentality, this kind of thinking. Me bhavishyati punah dhanam. In the future, I shall have more and more wealth. This is what I will have after 1 year, 3 years, or 5 years. This is the kind of projections they will keep doing, and this is the kind of mentality or thinking that these people and these organizations will have. So Guru Maharaj tells us and explains to us that yes, wealth is important because it provides us with the kind of security that we need for ourselves and our family. It also provides us with a lot of comforts that we need in day-to-day life, all our daily needs and our security for the future. But wealth is not everything, and that's why we must know the limits of wealth. Wealth can never be the primary goal of life. It is definitely important, but there has to be a limits have to be defined of what is our needs, what are our greeds. Either we are just pursuing for our needs or we are pursuing for our greed. That is what we need to understand, and this is what these shlokas tell us. Asau maya hatah shatrur hanishye chaparanaphi Ishwarohamaham bhogi siddhoham balavan sukhi. So what is again the kind of thinking that these people have? Asau maya hatah shatru. Today I have won over these enemies. And enemies in today's world, we don't have enemies, but we have competitors. We always see our competitors as our enemies. And these organizations or such people, how they think that today I have beaten these enemies, these competitors, I have excelled from them, I have done better than them. And aparana picha hanyashe. I want to defeat some more of my enemies or competitors tomorrow. In the future, I would like to defeat them. I would like to go to higher numbers, like to go to the higher rich list, wish list, and wealth list. Ishwaraham. Their thinking is, I am the Almighty. I can do anything. I can do everything. I am all powerful, and I don't need help from others. I don't need help from the universe, from Vishwara or anybody else. I am everything. I can do everything what I want. Aham bhogi. I am the enjoyer. Whatever I have accumulated, the wealth and whatever sense pleasures the wealth can buy, those comforts, the luxuries, I am the one who enjoys. I have much to enjoy. I have so much of wealth. I have so much of sense objects. I can do anything. I can go to any vacation. I can go to any restaurant, hotel. I can enjoy everything. This is the kind of thinking. Siddha aham. And I am a well-to-do. I am come from a very illustrious family. I have forefathers were this and that, and I had so much of wealth. We had so much of nice family, and this is a siddhi. These siddhis are all material siddhis. They are not the adhyatmic siddhi that Bhagavan talks about. Normally, these are all the material siddhis. Balavan. I am very powerful. I can defeat many people in the duel. So power is not just physical, but today the power is that to beat them in the competition, to do better and excel them and defeat them in the duel. Sukhi, I am very happy. They always believe that because I have so much of wealth, I am very happy. I have so much of comforts and I have so much of sense pleasures. So that's why I'm very, very happy, because for them, the definition of happiness is very limited. Bhagavan says, Bhashakar says, it's an illusion that they are happy. The real happiness, our Shastras tell us, is that it is within us. It is not outside in the sense pleasures. The outside happiness that we see in the sense pleasures is very transitory. It is evanescent. It is like an illusion. Whereas the real everlasting peace or happiness comes from our within, to understand our own Atma Swarupa, which is a Shant Ananda Swarupa. Adhyo bhijanamvanasmi konyosti sadrusho maya yakshe dasya vimodishya ityajnana vimohitaha adhya aham. Bhagavan says, what is the thinking of these people, the Asuri Sampatti people? They always believe I am very wealthy, I am Dhanavana, I have so much of wealth, And that's why he says, Abhijanavan Asmi. I come from a very, very good family, an illustrious family, you know, belong to a good family. Kaha anya asti sadrasha maya. There is no one like me. Nobody is there like me who is so wealthy and coming from a good family. They keep doing yakshe. Yakshe means they do keep doing some yagnas, some puja, some havan, some yagnas. And the purpose of doing this is to become famous, to show people that I am also believer of dharma. I'm also believer of shastra. That is what they want to show, and that's why they do yagnas. Dasyami means they also give. They give donations, but the purpose of giving donations is to gain that prestige, to gain that name, that fame, because they want that takti, that plate should be there on their whatever they have donated. It should go by their own name, and that's why it will increase their prestige. That is the purpose of giving their donations. Modishye, they believe that I shall attain happiness by sense pleasures, and iti ajnana vimohitaha. This is the ignorance that they have, and with this ignorance, ajnana, vimohita, they are all ignorance because the mind is deluded. They have a lot of moha. Because of this, they think this is the way that they think. 16th shloka. अनेक चित्त विभ्रांता मोहजाल समावृताः प्रसक्ताः काम भोगेषु पतन्ति नरकेषु च. Aneka chitta vibranta, with so many such obsessions, they have so many such desires, they want to do obsessions, they want to achieve this thing. Their mind is always vibranta, it is all clouded, they cannot take a proper clear decision, they want to do this and also that, they have so many projects, they want to keep doing so many things. Moha jala samavrutaha, they are all engrossed in the web, jala, of attachments, the moha. Because of these attachments, they are all entangled. They can't see clearly. They can't take a clear decision. Their mind is clouded. Prasakta, kama bhogeshu. They're always involved, indulged in sense pleasures. That is what there is a goal of their life, to continue in sense pleasures. Patanti narake ashuchau. Bhagavan says that what happens to all these people? Bhagavan says all these ashucha, all these impure people, patanti, they are patan, they are demoted to naraka. Naraka means hell. They are all demoted to the hell. Bhagavan says all these are people who are ashacho, who are all impure people, and for them the gati, the onward gati is nothing but naraka. They all go to hell. Bhagavan says. Atma sambhavita stabdha dhanamana madanvitaha yajante nama yagnaiste dambhena vidhipurvakam. Atma sambhavita. They are all people who are obsessed with their own self, for their own self pride. They want to show, they want always self praise, they want to glorify their self. So they all talk about themselves, what they have done, what they have achieved. They keep doing this. Atma sambhavita. Bhagavan says stabdaha, and they are always tight. They are never humble. They don't accept their mistakes, and they don't show any humility to others. They don't show respect to others. They always want respect, but they don't want to give respect. Dhanamana madanvitaha. They are always indulging in wealth. They want to show because they keep spending their wealth. They want to show off. Mana. They always want respect. And mada. They are all filled with pride of their own. They feel that they have achieved something, and that's why they have a lot of pride about all that they have achieved. Yajante nama yagnaihi. They do yagna, but this is only nama yagna. This is only for the name's sake. And this yajana, this yagna, this puja, this part, parayana, they all do it not for dharma, but because they want to show. That's why they do this kind of yagnas. Dambhena avidhipurvaka. So how do they do their yagnas? Dambha, to show off. To show off that they are dharma. And avidhipurvakam. They don't do it out of the method that is shown in the scriptures. They do it without any vidhi. So it is a avidhipurvak. They do this kind of yagna, and which is not clearly mentioned in the Shastra. That's how they will do it on their own, whatever they like. Ahamkaram balam darpam kamam krodam cha sanshritaha mamatma para deheshu pradvishanto pyasuyakaha. Bhagavan says they are filled with ahankara, with the pride of their own self, that I am something, I can do something, I have done so many things, I can do in the future, I can this kind of a pride always they have in them. Balam, they're always filled with lust, attachments. They feel that they can achieve anything, they can do anything. They always want, this kind of superficial pleasures, temporary, transient pleasures, sense pleasures. Darpam. Darpam itself means, Darpa means pride, but here Darpa is used for extremes of emotions which lead to adharma. Sometimes in a rage of emotion, they will resort to something which is not described in our Shastra, which is Ashastri Vidhi Purna Karma. And this is Darpa. Khamam, they're filled with many, many desires all the time. Krodham cha sanshrita, and they're filled with anger all the time. They take, because they're always, want desires are not fulfilled, they become angry. Mama pradvishantaha atma paradeheshu. And in this process, with all these that Bhagavan has said, what happens is Bhagavan says, Mam pradvishantaha, they anguish me. And how do they anguish me? Bhagavan says, Atma paradeheshu. Atma paradeheshu means I'm sitting inside the deha, inside the body of all these people as Atma Swarupa. And that is how when they disrespect other people, they are actually disrespecting. Bhagavan said they're disrespecting me, because I'm sitting inside the body of everyone, all the beings, not just humans, but all the species. That's why even when we, do violence to an animal or to any other mosquito or any other birds or anything, we are actually, doing violence to the Lord. That is what Bhagavan himself is saying here. Mam pradvishantaha atma paradeveshu. I am sitting inside all the bodies of all these people as Atma Swarupa, and Mam pradvishanta means they are anguishing me, they are causing disturbance to me, they are causing pain to me, they are causing disrespect to me, and this is very painful. Abhyasuyakaha. And what is, Bhagavan says, these people have abhi asuya. Asuya means it's a quality to see vices, dosha, in the virtues, in the guna. So that if somebody has some good, has a good virtue, but if even then we see something negative in that person, this is called asuya. So asuya is a little different from irsha. Irsha is jealousy, where we are unhappy at the progress of others. That is irsha, where we always feel sad that this person is progressing, I'm not able to progress. This person is going up, he was my friend, I've been with him, but I'm here, see, I'm not progressing. So this kind is asuya or jealousy. But this is irsha or jealousy. But asuya is that when we see, dosha darshan in the guna, people have virtues. A lot of somebody has a good virtue, goes to prayer every day, and when we say that, oh, see how he's just wasting his time going for a prayer every day, what is he achieving by doing prayers every day? If we see kind of dosha in all these virtues, then it is called asuya. And Bhagavan here says abhi asuya means they're filled with a lot of asuya. That's why they always see dosha darshana karte. They always see the negative part in whatever positive that is happening in this world for people. And what does Bhagavan do to all these people? Bhagavan is telling us in this next shloka, Tanaham dvishata kruran sansareshu naradhaman shipamya jastramasubhan asurishveva yonisu. Bhagavan says, Tan aham dvishata. Those are the people who disrespect me, but I am sitting inside the hearts, Atma Paradeheshu. Bhagavan has already said, these are the people, what Bhagavan says, Kruran, these are very harsh, very violent people who cause a lot of anguish, pain, disrespect, sadness to others. Sansareshu naradhaman. Bhagavan says, he uses such words, he says, they are inhuman, nara adhama. Adhama nara means they are not even are appropriate to be described as humans. They cause a lot of disturbance to sansar. In sansar, in the world, they behave like inhuman mentality, the behavior. They do not, befit a human being. That's why they are nar adama nara. Ashubhan, they are always involved in unpious activities, ashubha activities, which never leads to kalyana. Always illegal means or unethical means. They are always in all these ashubha, unpious activities. They keep doing something that should not be done. Shipami asurishva eva yonishu ajastram. Bhagavan says, Shipami means I throw them actually. But here the meaning is that Bhagavan sends them or dispatches them to the Asuri Yoni. Asuri Yoni is the lower yonis, the lower species, the animals and the birds and those species. Ajastram. Ajastram means repeatedly I throw them to this Asuri Yoni all the time. So let us understand, Guruji explains to us what does this mean, Aham Tan Chipami. When Bhagavan says, I throw them or I send them to these lower yonis, the Asuri yonis, what does it actually mean? It actually, we have to understand that Bhagavan is not taking revenge here. Bhagavan is never taking revenge. Bhagavan never likes to punish the people who does Asuri Vritti. That is not the purpose. But what Shankaracharya ji explains to us is that Bhagavan is trying to make us remember the karma phala principle. And this is very important. We have to understand that this principle is firmly decided by the Lord himself. And this principle is the one that maintains the universe. For the kind of karma that I do, I will get some karma phala of the same appropriate karma phala, maybe in this janam, maybe in the next janam. And this is not stula, it is not gross, but it is very sukshma, it is very subtle. And this is something which we normally don't understand. And that's why we always feel that God is punishing me for what I have done. But actually what I have done, I'm getting the same result of what I have done. And this karma phala principle, Siddhanta, is just. It is same for all, does not do any injustice to anyone. It is for everyone, it is similar. One may be a wealthy person or a poor person. One is from one country or the other. One is a male or a female, a rich or a poor. Everybody, for people who have Daivi Sampatti, Asuri Sampatti, for everyone, this is completely a same just principle. And nobody is beyond this principle. Even when Bhagavan takes avtara on the earth, when he comes in the bodily form and lives on the earth, also Bhagavan has to follow this karma phala principle. So they are not above everyone. Everybody is within this principle. Even Bhagavan has to follow. We have seen that when Bhagavan has taken avtara in the Ram as well as Krishna Janam, how many dukkha, how many taklifa they had to undergo. Rama had to go to Vanvasa at the tender age instead of becoming a king, and then he had to live there difficult times, and his wife was abducted, and then he had to go search for it, and then he had to fight the demons. There are a lot of difficulties. Even Krishna was born in the prison, and then since childhood he had to a lot of demons used to come to kill him, a lot of difficulties, and then all his life he had to try to protect dharma, to fight wars, Mahabharata Yuddha, he had to be with Pandavas, and a lot of issues they had to undergo. Even at the end, Bhagavan had a sharp from Gandhari, and that's why he got a bow. He was killed by a bow from a deer, and that's how his body came to an end. So that all this dukkha, Bhagavan has to follow the karma phala principle. Nobody is beyond that. But Guruji explains to us that it is our human life where there is always this chance of free will to do our own karma, to do it in a better way, to improve our future karma phala, to improve our destiny. And this is in our hands. So this is our chance. The human life is a rare chance for us, because here is where we have this free will. We have our own purushartha. We can do what we want to do. We can decide what we want to do, how to spend our time, what kind of actions to do. In animal life, there is no such opportunity, because that is not a karma bhumi, that is called a bhoga yoni. Means in an animal life, only they have to undergo this bhoga. They have to do all these instincts are only basic instincts are there. There is no vichar shakti, that intellect that humans have. There is no free will to decide what they want to do, what they can do, but they just keep doing their job or their work according to the natural instincts in animal life. And kartavya, our duty for us in human life, is to do better karma, to make uddhar, to make our life a better place, our future better, and make the most of this life. And karma phala is not just sthula, like pleasures or happiness that we see, but the sukshma karma phala is also very important. What our shastras describe it as adrashta, which is not seen. And this sukshma karma phala is called sanskaras. And these sanskaras are there in our antakarana all the time. Whatever we do, actions, our karma according to dharma, we get a punya karma. If according to we act against scriptures or dharma, then we get papa. And all the sanskaras are always there with us. These are the sukshma sanskaras. So universal order is the Lord, Ishwaratva. And if we follow this, definitely there will be kalyana, there will be urdhvagati, there will be salvation, there will be enlightenment. But if we don't follow this universal law, karma phala theory, if we try to, just live according to our own likes and dislikes, then we will just attain this world which is a Preya Purushartha, and we won't attain anything else. 20th shloka. Asurim yonimapanna mudha janmani janmani mama prapyaiva kaunteya tato yantyadhamam gatim. Asurim yonim apannaha. One says those who have been demoted or those who have attained this lower species, Asuri Yoni, Mudaha, they are all deluded people. They don't use their intellect well. Bhagavan has given us this intellect to use it to attain a higher goal, higher purpose in life. But if we don't use it and just use it for our short-term gains, we are all Mudha. And Bhagavan says, Tata Yanti Adhamam Gatim. They are all demoted to the lower species, Adhama. Adhamam means Adham se bhi Adham, means demoted to lower species. Janmani Janmani, in every birth upon birth. Because if somebody has done too many pap, he is already demoted to a lower yoni, then the next janam again he has to go to another lower yoni, because all these pap karma have not been fulfilled or have been. And Bhagavan says, Mam aprapya eva kaunteya. So what happens if we keep doing this? Then the main chance that we are losing here, Mam aprapya. Bhagavan says, O Kaunteya, O Arjuna, they don't attain me. That's the biggest loss that they have, because they go to other yoni, animal life. There is no opportunity for us to do better karma, to attain the higher lokas or attain the Paramatma. And that's why we lose this chance. Mam aprapya eva kaunteya. Guru Ma always tells us that they have missed the chance. Human life is very, very rare, very durlabha. And here we have an opportunity to improve our life, improve our future, improve our onward journey, improve our future journey. And we have an opportunity to attain the Lord. And this is only possible in the human life. In the next shloka, Bhagavan tells us what are these three doors to the hell. Trividham narakasyedam dvaram nashanam atmanaha kamah krodhastatha lobah tasmate tatrayam tyaje. Bhagavan says, idam trividham narakasya dwaram. These are the three doors to hell. Atmana nashanam. And what do? They destroy Atma. Atma means, it's a purpose, the goal of life, what we need to achieve in our life through our antakarana to attain the Atma Swarupa. All these is destroyed, that we are not able to achieve. And what are these three doors to hell? Bhagavan says, Kamaha, Krodha, Lobha. One is Kamaha. Kamaha is desires. All our incessant desires which keep creeping into us. And this may be, this may be required or needed. This may be unrequired, unneeded. This may be, could be sattvic, could be tamasic, could be rajasic, or all types of desires. Krodha, anger. Second, Asuri Sampatti, and Bhagavan says, Lobha, greed. These are the three roads to hell. These are the three doors to hell. Tasmat etat trayam tyaje. Therefore, Arjuna, everybody should leave these three. Etat trayam tyaje. One should leave these three. And Bhagavan says, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Trividasya, Narakasya Dwaram. All these demonic qualities, Guruji tells us, that are summarized in these three. These three are the foundation for all these Asuri Sampatti. If we try to think into detail of all the other Asuri Sampattis, ultimately they come they summarize into these three Asuri Sampattis, out of which Kama, Bhagavan says, is the first, because it's a primary problem. It's where the root of the problem, where it starts. Lot of desires keep springing in us, and this is the primary problem. When these desires are not fulfilled, then we become angry. And that is the reason for anger. In most of the times, we want somebody to do something, that person does not do it, and then we become very angry. Why didn't you do it? So this desires, when they are not fulfilled, anger comes. So krodha. And when the desires are fulfilled, what happens is, it gives you some kind of a happiness, temporary satisfaction, happiness, and that's how we want to do it more and more. We want to achieve it more and more. We keep doing it more and more, and then what happens is the greed creeps into us. So these are the three, how they are linked to each other. primarily it's the karma that is most important. When karma is not satisfied, fulfilled, it is anger, and when the desires are fulfilled, it turns into greed. Tasmat etatrayam tajet. Bhagavan says you have to leave them completely. There are some calm, some maybe sometimes krodha, which may be justifiable because which justifies our regular needs of our daily life. But most of the times it is not justifiable, and that's why we should leave them. And this is only possible in human life because here only we have that capacity to think, viveka, vichara, use our intellect, be aware that these are the asuri sampattis that we have. That is the first, we have to identify them in us. Whenever they creep us, whenever they spring into us, we need to be aware about them. That is the first step, awareness. Second step is understand. And this understanding is provided by our scriptures, our Guruji, how we can tackle them, how we can leave them, these asuri sampattis. And third is application. Application is how we can imbibe these qualities, this understanding in our life so that we can make a change in our life. And this application has to be done by our own self. Nobody can help us to do this. Ourselves, we have to do this kind of an assimilation into our own life. एतैर्विमुक्त कौन्तेय तमोद्वारे स्त्रिभिर्नरः आचरत्यात्मनः श्रेयः ततो याति पराम गतिम. So Bhagavan tells Arjuna, hey Arjun, O Arjuna, Kaunteya, Etair vimukta tamodvare tribihi naraha. Those people who are devoid of these three vices, Bhagavan has already said tamodvare, these are the door to the hell, the door to the tamodvara or the hell. Acharati atmanaha shreya. What is the benefit that happens if the people are devoid? They leave these three vices, the kama, krodha and the moha. Bhagavan has already said these are the three doors to hell. If people leave them, they are devoid of these three vices. What is the benefit that they get? They get achieve salvation because of their shreya, because then they are able to attain the Daivi Sampatti, they can develop these good virtues. And here, this is the road, Bhagavan has already said, to moksha. They can achieve this shreya, kalyana, salvation. Tato yati param gatim. And finally, they can attain the highest self, the Paramatma, by understanding this. Because ultimately, because once they have the Daivi Sampatti, they have Shuddhi, and they can achieve that highest self. So Bhagavan in these shlokas has told us about the spiritual journey, the Adhyatma Sadhana that scriptures describe to us. That the first step is that we have to let go of the demonic values. In Adhyatmic Sadhana, Vairagya is very important. The first Vairagya, first we have to let go is our Asuri Sampatti, the demonic values. Only then there will be place in our side for attaining the Daivi Sampatti, to imbibe, to inculcate, to cultivate the divine qualities. They are already inside us. We just have to cultivate them, the Daivi Sampatti. And in worldly affairs, what happens is that when we achieve something better, then we leave something which is not useful to us. For example, if we get a car, then we will not use the two-wheeler. Suppose we get a better house, we will leave our apartment, go to a larger house. So this is how we will, when we achieve something, we leave something. But in spiritual journey, we have to let go first. We have to let go of our Asuri Sampatti. Only then there will be some place for us to imbibe this divine qualities, Daivi Sampatti. And this is a very, very important first part of the sadhana. Guruji always re-emphasizes, because this is the Antakarana Shuddhi. And this purity of the mind is the first part of the sadhana, which makes our mind quiet, still. And this is only with this Shanta, Shuddha, Sukshma, Antakarana that we can then enroll into the sadhana of actually obtaining the Atma Gnana. So this is the first part of the sadhana which makes us eligible for understanding this Atma Gnana. And the second part of the sadhana is actually to understand the Atma Gnana, to imbibe in us, to understand this by Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana from a learned Guru who is Vedanta Krit, who is learned from the Guru through Guru Shishya Parampara. And this Atma Gnana, Brahma Gnana, ultimately then, which is initially Paroksha, which is just in the memory, which is just in the mind, which is in the knowledge, has to be assimilated and has to become Aparoksha. It has become a part of us. And this assimilation of this knowledge in life with this Atma Gnana, Aparoksha understanding, and it's only the way to liberate ourselves freedom, moksha, to become one with the divine. And this is a nutshell of the spiritual journey that Bhagavan is talking about here, that we have to leave our Asuri Sampati. That is the first step. And by inculcate, develop our divine qualities, the Daivi Sampati, lead to purity of our mind, and then ultimately understand what scriptures tell us about Atma Gnana, Brahma Gnana, and then try to assimilate this in our life to get the ultimate benefit. Now coming to the summary and the last two shlokas of the 16th Adhyaya. Yah Shastra Vidhimutsrujya Vartate Kamakaratah Na sa siddhim avapnoti na sukham na param gatim. Bhagavan says, Yah Shastra Vidhim Utsrujya. One who acts, does any actions against the rituals which are shown by the scriptures. Shastra shows us the vidhi, the method, the rituals, how we should do our own actions, what kind of actions, where, how we should do it. But somebody who does not do their actions according to the rituals which are shown in the scriptures, vartate kamakarata, but behaves with their own kamakarata, means with their own likes, dislikes, with his own kamna, which his own desires, which his own likes, with his own raga dvesha. Sasiddhim na avapnoti. That person, saha, that person, siddhim na avapnoti, does not attain any worthy accomplishment, siddhi, any prakar, no real accomplishment, worthy accomplishment, they don't get anything. Na sukham na param gatim. They don't either attain happiness, na sukham, neither they attain paragati. Paragati is the highest goal, the self-attainment or the God attainment. They don't even attain this paragati. Bhagavan says they lose their chance because they are all working according to their own likes and dislikes, and they don't work, they don't act, or they don't behave in this world according to what is shown in the scripture, the karma nidhi, karma nisheth, karma, what kind of karma we should do. This they have no understanding. And in the final shloka, Bhagavan tells us, Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te Karya Karya Vyavasthitau Gnatva Shastra Vidhanuktam Karma Kartumiharhasi. Bhagavan says, Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te. Tasmat is therefore, Shastram Pramanam Te, for you, the scriptures are the only evidence. What evidence for what? Karya Vyavasthitau. What to do, what not to do in different circumstances, in various different circumstances in our life. What is the karya, what is the akarya, what we should do, what we should not do. For all this understanding, Shastra is the only evidence, Bhagavan says. Gnatva Shastra Vidhana Uktam. Therefore, by knowing what has been said in the scriptures, in the Shastra, Karma Kartum Iha Arhasi. Bhagavan is telling Arjuna, you should do all your actions according to the scriptures. This is our duty, this is our kartavya. We should do it according to our scriptures, and that is what Bhagavan summarizes this final shloka. The understanding for this is that the human life is the best chance for changing our future. We should do our actions according to what has been described in the scriptures. Bhagavan says this is the evidence, what to do, what not to do in different circumstances. When Bhagavan says Tasmat Shastram Pramanam, that scriptures are the ultimate evidence, it means that the highest evidence, highest form of evidence is the Shruti Pramana, the Vedas and the Upanishads, which are the highest level of evidence. And then comes the Spruti Shastra, like the Purana and the Gita Ji. And the third Shastras are called the Itihas Shastra, the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. And so similarly, the levels are different, but the highest level of evidence is the Shruti Shastra. Dharma, adharma, what is the right thing to do? The Shastras tell us what is not the right thing to do, what is dharma, what is not dharma, what is the correct way to behave, what is righteousness, what is not. And what, if we do according to dharma, we will get punya. If we do actions according to adharma, it will give us the papa. And these sanskaras, impressions, they are within us, in the antakarana, in our sukshma sharira. And these travel with us even at the end of the life, during death. Also, the Sukshma Sharira travels with us, and all these sanskaras, these impressions travel with us. And that's why this is the real wealth, this is the real samruddhi, the real asset for what we should all work for. Sukha, dukkha, whatever we get is all our karma, karma phala, fruits of action. This is the understanding that Shastra or the scriptures provide us. Sukha, dukkha is not just worldly happiness or pain, but something that we should do all our actions not according to our raga dvesha, but according to dharma, adharma, according to what Shastra is telling us. Karma, akarma, what to do, what not to do is also what scriptures can tell us. Scriptures are the evidence for this. And for a lot of other subjects, such as who is God, who is Ishvara, what is Maya, what is Punarjanama, what is Paraloka, Loka, Paraloka, all these scriptures are the only final evidence, because our mind, our intellect is not that sukshma that we can understand all this. For this, we have to have Shraddha, have faith in the Shastra that this is telling us what is the right thing to do. So, scriptures are like traffic signals for our life. When the red light seen on the traffic signal, it is a stop sign. Whenever we feel that there is some Asuri Sampatti springing in us, we should stop there. Scriptures also show us what is the Devi Sampatti, which is a determinant or denotes a green light where we can go. Yes, if there is a Devi Sampatti, all the Bhagavan has already described Dhanam, Damascha, Yagnascha. All this he has described the 26 Devi Sampatti in the first 3 shlokas. It's a green light for us. So just as maintaining these traffic rules are important for our road safety, similarly maintaining these rules of the Devi and the Asuri Sampatti, which Bhagavan is describing in Gitaji, and our scriptures describe, that helps us to maintain the safety of our life, to improve our life. So coming to the end, summarizing the 16th Adhyaya, which is the Devi Asuri Sampatti Vibhaga Yoga. The crux here is Bhagavan is showing the Asuri Sampatti and the Devi Sampatti both. Bhagavan does not tell us, he does not label us, does not judge us and tell us that we leave the Asuri Sampatti, but he just tells us that these are the Asuri Sampatti, this is the Devi Sampatti. It is up to us. It is we who have to decide where we stand, where we are. We have to leave this Asuri Sampatti, try to inculcate the Devi Sampatti. And Bhagavan has already said in the 14th Adhyaya also, he just described what is the Sattva Guna, what is Rajas, what is Tamas. He never said that you go from Rajas, Tamas to Sattva. This is what we have to understand by seeing all these that Bhagavan is describing. And Guruji tells us that this is the easier Adhyaya to understand. This Adhyaya, 16th Adhyaya, is not difficult, partly because this is the experience of all of us. We all have, combination of Devi and Asuri Sampatti within us. So it's very easy to understand. We see this in the world around us. We see different people, different personalities. And that's why we know who are good people, who are not so good people, what is Devi Sampatti, what is Asuri Sampatti. All this we have an experience in life. That's why it is easy to understand this Adhyaya. But the main problem, the main difficulty, the practicality is it's extremely difficult to practice this in life. It's extremely difficult to be aware about our Asuri Sampatti, like say for example anger, and leave it, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, all this that Bhagavan is talking about Asuri Sampatti, how we can leave this. That is the most important difficult part of the life. And here the reason why it is very difficult is because these past impressions, our Purva Sanskara, are so strong that actually this automatically makes us behave in that particular way. We are all, kind of programmed to behave in a way. And to change this programming, we have to be very aware about ourselves. It needs constant awareness to have this change in our life. It is not impossible, Bhagavan is telling us, because this is not impossible. And Guruji oft repeatedly stresses the importance of self-observation, introspection on a daily basis. Look into our own self, seeing in a mirror. This Adhyaya tells us that we have to look within ourselves. We don't have to judge people outside, saying that, oh, this is the person who is the Devi Sampatti, this is the person who is Asuri Sampatti. That is not for us to judge others, but we should only attempt and try our best, pursue to change our own self for the better, for the future. So with this, we come to the end of the 16th Adhyaya. Om Tat Sata Iti Srimad Bhagavat Gitasu Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Daivasura Sampat Vibhaga Yogo Nama Shodashodhyayah Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः। ॐ गुरुब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परः ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।